Yeah, 28 minutes, I know. Too late, but I'm gonna get in the habit of doing it. Get in the habit of casting these without that overlay. All right. In the top right-hand corner of the map, it's a red Terran. How the hell am I gonna say this name? Ew. No, it's AEW. I have no idea how I'm gonna say that name. Maybe just AE. We'll figure it out. Whatever comes out of my mouth at that moment is what I'm going to use. In the bottom left-hand corner of the map, his opponent, the one, the only, my Doomdrop TV partner in crime, the purple Zerg, he is Nakamura. Yeah, I want to zoom in on the drones, not this corner of the hatchery. There we go. So I don't know anything about this game other than the fact that it is a crazy game against mech, is what Nakamura told me. So I'm looking forward to it. If Nakamura sends me a replay to cast, I know it's going to be a good one. By the way, guys, now that I'm back and streaming pretty much every day, feel free to send me your best games from ladder. The only thing that I request is send me, if you send me 3 replays, mix at least 1 loss in there. So the result isn't predictable for me. I know most people, I understand why most people want to send their wins because they feel better about them, of course. But from a casting standpoint, it's more exciting if I don't know who is going to win. So feel free to send me your replays, mix in losses with the wins if it's a really good or exciting game, if you think it would be a fun one to watch. And I'll try to cast like at least once a week, maybe more. Can I send you a replay where my opponent insta-leaves? You can. Sure. Might be the last replay I ever cast from you, but you can. Purple Jerga. I've got a few good ones for his frame show. Not sure he'll want you to see them, though. By the way, Dust, are you maining Zerg or Terran now? I know you were splitting equally between both of them, right? If I recall correctly, you were Master 2 with both. So how's that been going? Which one have you chosen? Still doing both equally, and are you still in Master 2, or have you bumped up since I've been away? So, from AE, that's going to be hard to say fast. AE, anyway, whatever. From AE, we have pretty fast reactor and factory. So, I made 1 Marine. Only danger about builds like this, it's not that they're bad, but the only danger about them is that you're very, very susceptible to any kind of all-in or any kind of early pressure. Without the Marine out there to scout what's going on, and by the way, not even an SCV scout, but so without the scouting, you are very susceptible to something like a 2-base Lingbane bust, even like a 1-base Ravager, or, you know, like a 2-base but only saturation on 1 base Roach build, so it's pretty dangerous. With that being said, there's a double factory follow-up, or I should say a second factory follow-up. No starport just yet, so I'm guessing we're going to see Cyclone Hellion. And if that's what it's going to be, and if it was against a Roach build, like a Roach pressure or all-in build, the Cyclones would do serious work. But it's mostly the early, like the super early all-ins that are dangerous when you don't open with a Reaper. Anyway, Nakamura is going to get a scout off. Oh my goodness, he actually just missed the most important information possible. He just missed the double factory. And double reactored factory can only be one thing. I mean, it doesn't make any sense to go mass Hellions. If you see that, you have to figure it is Cyclone Hellion. That's exactly what it is. Now, Nakamura is a particularly aggressive Zerg player. He and I have the craziest games. Like going back to Asian Mythology, which is where we first met, first started playing. He and I would just have the most knockdown, drag-out wars you've ever seen. And that really transitioned over into StarCraft 2 because both of us are super aggressive players. So this could be interesting. I'm actually I'm particularly intrigued by how Nakamura plays against mech. I don't think I've actually seen him play against mech too often, and when I play against him, obviously I play bio almost all the time. So Now, we need to keep our eye out for the move out. In fact, there it is right now as we speak. Oh, is he actually going to move out? Yes, he is. And he's actually going to be split by the map. That can be disastrous. Got to be careful about that. Anyway, so the move out is underway. Nakamura doesn't really know. Yes, he does. He does know what's going on. If he was paying attention to the mini-map, he does have roaches in production. He also has double upgrades, though. So, might be a bit of a tough hold once the Cyclones join up with the Hellions. They will be morphed into Hellbats. I mean, this is going to be a strong push. Now, the roaches obviously deal with the Hellbats pretty well, but they get absolutely incinerated by the Cyclones. The push comes in here, going to immediately surround a queen. That's a nice start. Nakamura is pulling back into a choke point. He wants to take that choke against the melee units. Actually ends up getting a full concave once reinforcements join. That is pretty darn nice for Nakamura. Excellent positioning. Transfusions go down as well, and the Cyclones are going to be repelled. Excellent defense by Nakamura. I mean, that was picture perfect. Beautiful positioning. Pulled back to the choke point to sort of get the Hellbats to move in with less surface area, and at the same time, the reinforcing roaches came up to complete the concave. Very well done. Diamond 1 at the minute, still beating Prime though. Dang. I want to cast the game between, or a game or a series between you guys. Those were always super exciting to cast. I see one base Ravager so often. It's rough. Yeah, Jackal. So do I. Actually went against it twice from the same player. Was it yesterday or 2 days ago? I lost the first one, but I won the rematch. He did the exact same build, and I actually pretty much just destroyed it, which felt really good. But it's a tough freaking build to beat. For me, anyway. Maybe some people deal with it easily. At any rate, Nakamura does verify that there's a third base there. Yep, in fact, oh wow, it's actually in vision of it, or almost in vision of his Overlord. Anyway, Naka's going to pull back. Looks like he probably wants to tech up soon. There's only so much you can accomplish with roaches, especially once the mech army really starts to flesh itself out. Generally speaking, it seems like Zergs want to go up to Hive Tech. They want to get Broodlords, Vipers, probably some Corruptors, of course. Not that Roaches are terrible against mech. I mean, I guess they're better than Ling Bane in most scenarios, but you don't want too many of them, that's for sure. Definitely don't want too many of them. At any rate, we do have Roach Speed on the way. I mean, we are still in the mid-game, technically, so there isn't a need to tech up. Lings are going to run in. Actually, some poking toward the natural. Naka thinks better of it, pulls back. It looks like he wants to join up with his Roaches. Second Armory and additional starports for our Terran player. By the looks of it, AE is getting ready for the late game. And Naka is just now taking his fourth base. With a Roach-based composition, it's actually, it's not too late. If it was like Lingbane Muta, that'd be super late, or even Lingbane Hydra, that'd be a bit late, but playing with Roaches against mech, the timing on that fourth base seems A-okay to me. So not too much damage accomplished here by AE. Nakamura likewise not able to find any damage in the third base of his opponent. Just now droning up at the fourth, and a scan is actually beautifully timed to see the Spire. That is really important information. Now next, AE will want to know what the Hive timing is. Of course, this can be for Mutas, but in all likelihood, I think it's probably going to be for Corruptors into Broodlords. Yeah, Frameshow is, he's Master 2 right now, isn't he? In Dust, actually, I didn't quite see if you said if you're playing Terran, Zerg, or both right now. I apologize. I'm interested, though, because you were really freaking good with both. I think, didn't you take a break from the game as well? I think around the same time that I took a break. I could be wrong. Anyway, Hydralisk then and Spire, both about to finish up. Upgrades underway for our Terran player. Wow, I like his wall. His wall is so much better than my walls. My walls are ugly as hell. Frameshow can attest to that. Worker count is right about where both players probably want them to be. Wouldn't be surprised if we don't see any more worker production for now until workers get killed. But looks like both have reached the final number. And we should be seeing action from here forward as both players are now just about maxed. Huge swell of Lings is going to run in toward the natural. Tanks are firing on both, but there's going to be a surround. 2 of the tanks will go down. Lings do get into the mineral line, and oh wow, I just realized we have a planetary at the third. I didn't see that earlier. That's pretty funny. 18 workers now killed for Nakamura. Definitely a successful attack. He killed a couple of tanks too, so favorable trade for Naka. The planetary at the third base, man, that is as turtle mech as it gets. I mean, that's Avalo style turtle mech. Not really down one. My provisional memoir just keeps me there. Oh, okay, got it. Oh, you switched full time to Zerg. You left us. That's okay. You'll always be one of my favorite Zergs. Can't claim you'll be my favorite. You've got to earn that spot, but one of my favorites. And your real MMR is 5,000. Okay, so that's Master 1 on EU, right? Pretty sure, yeah, that's M1 on EU. That's freaking sick, man. Way to go. Hive is now completing and a second Spire, so we're going to see double upgrades from Nakamura. Or we could see single upgrades while the other goes up to Greater Spire. In fact, there it is, as soon as the Hive finishes. Nakamura on top of that timing. Here comes the maxed mech push out. Lots of Thors. Actually, only a couple tanks. Not sure how I feel about that. Now, granted, the Cyclones are going to do serious work against the Roaches, and it's not as though Thors are bad anymore, you know, after the armor buff. But Nakamura, as is his style, going in with a counterattack, which I love. He just needs to get more surface area here. It looks like we're going to get a base trade. Now, this mech army should be able to take this army out of Nakamura's pretty easily, but the problem is going to be what we see right here. Hydralisks getting into the natural. They're going to take down the few units they find there. Oh my goodness, they run move command momentarily. I think Nakamura wanted a better position to get a surround, but he did lose a few Hydralisks unnecessarily. Transfusion is going down all over the place. The Thors are standing strong, and as soon as the Corruptors come in, almost all of the Vikings do land. Thors are going to take out the Corruptors. Naka does still have a small raiding party here in the natural of his opponent. He sees that, I think he saw this 4th base. No, he did not. He just saw the gas, but he knows he's up against 4 bases. Thors are now going to take out everything that Nakamura has, and he's losing Roaches from the rally point. It's so hard to stop that as Zerg, by the way. But yeah, the Thors are just absolutely destroying the reinforcing Roaches. It looks like they might finally be enough to break through. Now, the only good news that I can see here for Nakamura, who is just now cleaning this up, is that he didn't lose many drones at all. He actually only lost 4 drones. So while he lost a ton of army, and I'm guessing he's behind, yeah, he is behind on the resources lost, he was able to keep virtually all of his drones alive, and that means he's going to be able to replenish that army, which, I mean, if you think about it, is basically what a Roach army and Zerg in general aims to do, is they aim to trade out their units, which tend to be cheaper. Most of them tend to be cheaper, trade them out for their opponents' higher cost units, and then just overwhelm with numbers. So that was really, really dangerous for Nakamura, but in keeping his economy alive, he is now able to replenish and should be able to go on the offensive, especially with the Broodlords now in play. I believe we have 4 Broodlords. No, I'm sorry, only 2. More Corruptors being added. I would imagine that Naka will go up to, it's probably say around 5, 6, give or take. Both players have continued to expand. Neither has lost a base just yet, just been army for army trading. This Overlord is seeing absolutely everything and has not been dealt with yet. Hydralisk is going to loop around here and take out the Hellions, not before they get a few worker kills, nothing too serious. Worker count still is pretty darn nice for Nakamura. He's at 80, so no big deal there. Never hurts to kill a few drones though. We've got +3 attack and +2 melee So the melee is going to be for the Broodlings, I would assume. Don't think we'll see an Ultralisk transition. Adrenal Glands are not yet done. Even if they were done, I believe this Planetary Fortress would pass that test. Don't think we have Unit Armor yet either, unless I just missed it in the production tab. At any rate, lots and lots of Hydras here. They're trying to zone away the main army of AE. Naka's going to come up and try to focus on the Planetary Fortress. This is going to be pretty close. I think the Hydra DPS is just enough to do it. Naka does lose some Hydras for it, but I think it's definitely worth it in this case. He's keeping that mech player to 4 bases. We're 15 minutes in, so if he can do that a couple more times, he will be in fantastic shape. I think Naka probably has a slight lead right now. He has closed the gaps by a little bit regarding resources lost, which I realize you guys can't see too well because my my alert ticker, or my recent alert ticker, covers it. I really should change that location. I'm just not sure where to put it. But anyway, so take my word for it. Naka is slightly behind in resources lost. He is 2,300 resources lost behind, but I mean that's pretty normal for Zerg. It's actually about what you would expect. That goes back to the whole philosophy of Zerg, trading out with their opponents' higher cost units. At any rate, Nakamura's going to come in here, and he's going to do exactly what I said. He's going to focus on that 5th base again. If he can just keep doing this, like I said, a couple more times, he's going to be in fantastic shape. He is going to have to deal with this maxed out mech army at least once, of course, probably twice. If you take a look at the bank, that to me looks like one remax. Corruptors are easily going to focus down this Planetary Fortress. I think maybe only one will fall. Broodlords adding siege power, providing additional siege power to the attack, but the Hydra's going to get caught up in this mech army again, and Widow Mines are now being fixed in, which is interesting. I'm not sure if they're going to be used against the Broodlords, if he wants to run them in and burrow them under. I mean, I've done that before, but you need to have Drilling Claws to do that. I haven't seen if he's actually researched Drilling Claws. We'll find out here. No Drilling Claws, so they're actually just going to get destroyed, but 2 shots do go off. They kill 2 Hydralisks. We do now have the Corruptor versus Viking battle, which I'm actually told that after the plus 10 HP Viking buff, that Vikings narrowly defeat Corruptors 1 versus 1. I've heard that. I haven't seen it yet. I've heard that they narrowly beat Phoenixes as well. Of course, they have other disadvantages, with Corruptors being much faster, being able to attack ground from air, etc., etc. But definitely a nice buff for the Vikings, who do take out the Broodlords and land to avoid being killed by the Corruptors. AE has now taken out this base of Nakamura, and he has a rather considerable supply lead. It looks like that's primarily made up in workers, as the army supply is now evening out. Evolution Chambers going down. Plus 3 melee could be canceled here, which actually would be a nice pickoff, but 2 floors are surrounded by Zerglings. It's actually a really, really nice kill there from Nakamura to take out those stores. This is going to end up in one of those scenarios where every unit is absolutely key. Naka's going to be able to take out the remaining Vikings, but not before one more Broodlord goes down. I think the Thor actually got the final shot up there. Nakamura has to be super careful not to lose those Broodlords to the Thors. It's really difficult because at the same time he has to fight with them. He doesn't have the luxury of just running away. He needs to clear this army right now. Meanwhile, AE has pulled his remaining forces back home. Looks like he wants to regroup and probably push again later. Naka has finally cleared this army from his base and now finds himself 10,000 resources behind in the resources lost department. So really, really difficult engagement there from Nakamura. Great positioning by the mech player to seize this ground here. Basically in the center, you could say in the nexus of all activity. And just locking down the position. Nakamura fought tooth and nail to clear it out. But he's going to have to do some work to get back in the game, as I do believe he is behind right now. Also worth mentioning, as I said earlier, his evolution chambers were killed, so he did lose his plus 3 melee, which was researching. If if I'm not mistaken, he does have the +3 attack. Yes, so he does have +3 attack, but he is only on +2 carapace and +2 melee. So an upgrade advantage for the mech player, who is now going to move out, and he might end up getting sandwiched if the tanks are not sieged. Nakamura could get us around. This is so precarious here for Nakamura. You know, one volley with these tanks on his Hydralisks, and it's pretty much GG. It looks like Naka wants to set up the surround with the Hydras on one side, Lings on the other. Or perhaps that's what he was looking to do, but now he has joined them up. Oh, and right as I said, he splits them again. So will it be a counterattack, or will he go for a surround? Huge swell of Lings will push into the Terran main, it looks like. They're just on attack move right now, but there they go. They're going to target the tanks now. If he can get them into the production, that will be fantastic for Nakamura. And AE is just sort of frozen in the center of the map, so Nakamura is buying a ton of time with this attack. This is a fantastic attack. He's also going to pick off a Thor, which is really big. Might even cancel this planetary fortress. AE has now been queued to move into Nakamura's base. There are going to be some Hydras and Broodlords waiting. I'm not sure if the Broodlords are going to be able to get their shots off them before the Vikings take them down. Nice concave from the Hydralisk. There are so many tanks here, though, and the Vikings should be able to clean up these Corruptors without too much of a problem. Will the tanks last? It looks like the answer is no. The tanks are just barely going to go down. Nakamura is still clearing out the natural of his opponent. More Lings, after killing the planetary fortress down here, are going to get into the main and now on top of production. This is the worst position possible for any Terran, but I would say especially mech with their immobile army. The few units that AE does have are now just languishing to return home and save all of the production, which obviously, in addition to losing expensive units one by one, if he loses the actual production facilities themselves, they cost more than barracks cost. So this is just a really rough place for the mech player to be in. It looks like he's actually going to lose a factory. Every little bit hurts now. He's going to float in orbital command over to try to retake this base. If we take a look at the worker count, it is now 72 to 54 in Nakamura's favor, and he has expanded to both corner locations of the map. If we get into a mine out scenario, that can be very significant. We've got one Mutalisk. I'm not sure if others are going to join. No, we have that one Muta, which will only live as long as the Vikings are on the ground. As soon as they get up in the air, they're like, nope, these are our skies. Get out in the skies, son. And the Mutalisk just evaporates. Another Broodlord in production, as well as Corruptor. So it looks like Naka wants to stick with the Corruptor Broodlord. I do like the fact that he's going with so many Lings on the ground. In addition to just being cost effective, the Lings are really nice at out-positioning, out-maneuvering that slow mech army. Speaking of which, here they go, and they're going to be very pleasantly surprised to find an orbital command here and not a planetary fortress, so a lot of SCVs could go down. Hellions get here just in time. Nice response from AE. And Nakamura, who was down 10,000 in resources lost, has now pulled it to a minus 5,000 differential. It's a really big deal, and like I said, that pretty much falls within the realm of what's normal. For this length of a game, that's pretty standard for the Zerg to be that far behind. I use air quotes, behind in resources lost. This sad Liberator is questioning why he was nerfed about 5 times right now. You deserved it, bro. Trust me, you were OP. Corruptors handle him quite easily. And every loss like that, it might not seem like a big deal, it's just one Liberator, but every loss like that in a low econ scenario is critical. And that goes for both players, but Naka, in establishing those corner bases, one of which theoretically should be the Terran players, is going to take a big lead here quite soon. He is now maxing out, so once we hit max, next step is make bang. As soon as he hits max, he pushes in. It's exactly what you want to do. He is repelled momentarily, pulls the Corruptors back. Vikings have to be very careful not to run into the Hydralisks. tanks are getting off some nice shots, but the Lings and the Broodlings are able to close that distance, and the Hydras are going to sweep up. Vikings will be able to take out the Corruptors if Naka's not careful, but they definitely don't want to hang out above the Hydralisks, whose DPS will just destroy them. It's exactly what we're seeing right now, and 2 Broodlords remain. Awesome job by Nakamura to pull those Broodlords back, keep them alive, and that is what's going to allow this siege to continue. 4 Thors coming from the high ground. Lots and lots of SCVs are going down. This is something that AE just cannot afford. He's down to 51 SCVs. It's not the worst count in the world, but when you already don't have a bank, that's a big deal. Blinding Clouds on the Thors to prevent chase. Naka's got to be careful with that Viper there. Looks like the Thors want to single it out and put it away. Oh, wow. I thought that would go down. And do we have the... Okay, we have 1 evolution chamber here. I actually didn't even see if Naka was able to finish the +3. No, so he is still a +2 melee and +2 carapace. Has now hit max again. And has really just mined from both of these corner bases unmolested. Yes, that's a real word, guys, and it's not what you think it means. Group of Hydras going to come in, try to take out another base. Wild Lings come in from behind, get a surround on the tanks. They will be cleaned up, but that is well worth it for Nakamura. AE cannot afford any trades right now. Naka should be a bit careful though with these Hydras. I don't think they can take down the Thors. Can they? I didn't think so. Am I crazy? No, they cannot take down the Thors, and Naka has to be very careful not to lose the Broodlords to these Thors as well. So while the supply is vastly in Nakamura's favor, the army supply is not necessarily, and again, the mech player does have better upgrades. He's 2 upgrades ahead on the ground. I'm actually not sure what the air situation is. I'm pretty sure he's on 3-3 in the air, and I don't know what Nakamura is. Okay, so Nakamura is actually 3-3 in the air too. So it's only on the ground that AE has an upgrade advantage. It looks like Naka is posturing for what could be the final attack, especially as he takes 4 tanks out right at the beginning of the engagement, and that's going to allow the Broodlords to get off beautiful shots onto the Thors, and Broodlings being complemented by the Zerglings, which rush in and trigger some friendly fire on the remaining Thors. I think Nakamura may have done it, boys. What a fantastic game. Just not quite enough from AE to hold on. He's going to lose his bases. His army supply is about 1/3 of that of Nakamura, and GG is called. Fantastic game. Very well played by Nakamura. Thanks for sending that one, man. That was a fun one to cast, too. A lot of back and forth action there.